we left New Orleans that morning, and a cop got shot in the face.
Are you serious?
Yeah, literally got shot in the face that morning as we were moving to Baton Rouge because he was controlling street traffic.
Are they worried about an uptick in crime? What do they say they do now?
That was the main concern that I saw across, the police departments, was that if they do their job, they'll be scrutinized.
Before we go any farther and get into the weeds, I have a Patreon account. They're our top supporters. They've been here since the very beginning, even before the podcast ever even started. And so one thing that I do for them is I give them the opportunity to ask the guest a question. And so this question is from Greg. And basically what he's saying, this is a long question, but basically what he's saying is he knows that you train a lot of law enforcement. And what he's asking is, this kind of goes along with our EDC pocket dump, but what Greg is asking is, you're around a lot of law enforcement, you train a lot of law enforcement. Are law enforcement saying that they are worried about the uptick in crime that's been happening? Are you getting any inside gouge on what those guys are worried about and if they think crime is going to continue to get worse?
So, training literally across America, east to west coast, I'm very intimate with, SWAT teams, street officers, patrol officers, all of them, highway patrol, counter narcotics, and I work with a lot of task force. And I tell you, the main concern is they don't have the support, political repercussions from doing their job. Arresting a person, they can lose their badge. If they shoot a person in self-defense, literally, they can lose their badge. Border Patrol, they can lose their badge if they forcefully stop immigrants. So that was the main concern that I saw across, the police departments, was that if they do their job, they'll be scrutinized.
Yeah.
Now, there was a few incidents where officers on the side of a road, and they get ambushed. When I was in New Orleans, I was training their counter-narcotics teams in Baton Rouge, and we left New Orleans that morning, and a cop got shot in the face.
Are you serious?
Yeah, literally got shot in the face that morning as we were moving to Baton Rouge because he was controlling street traffic. Do I think there's an uptick in crime? If you don't have the proper law enforcement in place that can execute their jobs, you're going to have an uptick in crime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the biggest concern for law enforcement is that their legs have been chopped out from under them. They have no support from political figures. They have no support from their leadership. And depending on where they're working, they don't have any support from the local community because they've bastardized them. Do you see, do the police or the law enforcement guys that you're training, are they worried about an uptick in crime? What do they say they do now? How are they? I couldn't imagine being a cop today. I could not imagine it. But what do they? You see this happening all over in certain states where department stores are just getting ransacked by thugs, and there are states now, I think, that if your home is being robbed, if it's not it's not a light threatening situation, don't even call the police. They're not going to respond. What are the cops doing now in place of, what they used to do, which is fight crime?
I work with some of the best in the nation, man. And I tell you, these are great Americans.
Yeah.
And, they don't have the proper support, but they're going to do what they do to protect their community.
Yeah.
And I worked around some of the best. And I tell you, you take away their budget, you take away their support, but these are great Americans. They're going to do what they do.
Yeah.
Regardless of your support. But it is a concern to me, as a civilian, is that, okay, so if police officers can't respond to their community because their hands are tied, budgeting, manning issues, whatever. So who's going to protect the civilians?
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I mean, nobody is going to protect him. I mean, it's a, I think that a lot of people are, there's that old saying, you reap what you sow. And I think a lot of people are feeling that now, especially the ones that are trapped, where they live, that had that big, the big defund the police movement. Mm-hmm. It's not working out so good. Mm-hmm. Better luck next time.
And people always say, hey, I'll call the police. Okay, so let's just even talk about history. The LA riots, everybody knows about the LA riots, so I'm going to bring it up. There were certain portions of the city that was shut down. They're like, hey, I'm not going to get to you. So these Koreans are on the rooftop with guns trying to protect their business from getting burned down because they were told nobody's going to come for you. Mm-hmm. So what about the civilians is what I say. And one of the things I do is I train civilians. I train our law-abiding citizens because they need that help, and they're the ones that are going to be the first responders protecting their family and themselves. Law enforcement, yes, that's your job. You're not going to get to them in time, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Touchy subjects, man. Touchy subjects. But thank you for answering, Greg, on my Patreon. So one last thing, and then we get into the weeds. This is probably the only reason you came back here, but, everybody gets a gift.
Yes.
And I know you'll smash those. Made in the USA. Hey, they're still legal in all 50 states. It's been about 2.5 years since you've been on, and they're still legal in all 50 states.
And these gummies are bigger.
Yeah.
They're like bulkier. They're like commando gummies.
But,
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.